prepare yourself.
The opinions of the host and guests on this show are exclusively just that, opinions. That means that they shouldn't be the cause of your state of being offended. Why does everybody get so butthurt?
Okay, let's go. Ready, go!
Welcome to And God Created Woman, where the arguments are necessary for the best make-up sex of your life. Unless you're single, and then we suggest you just go fuck yourself.
All right, And God Created Woman podcast back again with Carabella. This is the second time we're having you on. It's good to see you again today. How are you?
Great. How you doing?
Good. Look, you look good. You sound good. All right. Hey, last time you were on, we learned about you. It was great. Anybody who wants to follow you can follow you on TikTok, Kara_Bella19, correct?
Yes.
That's where you're at. And you talk, I mean, you're all about empowerment, female strong energy. You've got a great story. For anybody who didn't hear, just go look at the episode we did on And God Created Woman. Where you talked about all about your background, strength, survival, all that. But today, I asked you, I said, I got to get you back on. But what do you want to talk about? You wanted to talk about the blame game.
Yeah. Been on this kick lately.
Define what that
Probably
means.
It's like, all right, so I'm new to TikTok, like newer to TikTok, and all these things keep coming up with it. It's just like a relationship nightmare and men versus women nightmare. And everyone has all these issues. And it's like sob story after sob story, which is fine. But like, it's like a battle. And there's pages dedicated solely to like hating on the opposite gender. And so their backup is, well, it's all this gender's fault. It's all, women's fault. It's all men's fault. And no one's taking responsibility for anything. And
it's hard to get content out. Like if you do a polarizing position, this, our And God Created Woman channel on TikTok, I think I've told you this story and I'll tell it again for anybody else who heard it. Drew Afalalo is somebody that anytime I put up a very, very, very masculine, polarizing position, what most women seem to do is instead of articulating their own adverse opinion of what I'm doing, they'll tag her. And if you look at her stuff, I don't care about her. She roasts men. Her thing is she'll make a nasty comment, giggle, edit. Mason make a nasty comment about a man's physical appearance, giggle, edit. And then I was going to leave her because that's great advertising if you wind up roasting me. But this guy DM'd me and said, dude, no, you block her because it's not her. It's the millions of women out there who can't stand what men think that will swarm and mass report your content and get it like taken down. And it's a damn shame. I don't know where it's to every man. Women are one thing, and every woman, a man is one thing, and both camps massively overuse and throw around that word narcissist. When you're talking blame game, is there any air of personal responsibility in what you're going to talk about or bring up?
So what we talked about last time was my history with alcoholism and substance abuse. And a big part of that was taking responsibility for my actions and not co-signing my own bullshit. Because a lot of people around me and my family and my friends were enablers, because they just wanted to see me happy. And this is why they talk about Al-Anon and family members going to Al-Anon. And so you have to take responsibility you have to look at keep your side of the street clean and look at what you're doing, what your part in it is. And so I think I focused so much on that every time I see these types of videos, it just drives me nuts because it seems like everyone is just so unhappy in a relationship or not. And then they're preaching now that narcissism is the new thing, and gaslighting and toxicity. And if people are obsessed with labels, I think that's what it is. They're like, I have to put a label on it. It has to make sense to me, and it'll make me feel better. I mean, I think that's it. Why this trend of narcissism is so, it seems like a trend. I mean,
No, it's 100% a trend. I don't know where, I didn't know what a narcissist was, and I'm sure we knew some, but narcissists, and they're different than sociopaths. Sociopaths have no emotion, right? They're the ones that
Right.
can hurt people and feel like nothing. Narcissists, that's the victim blaming. Oh, my life sucks because of what you did. Don't accept responsibility. True narcissism is, if true narcissism was equivalent to the accusations thrown around on TikTok, everyone's a narcissist. It blows me. I can't believe how many influencers I see. Here's 5 steps to dealing with a narcissist. Here's your 3 daily anecdotal issues of how to deal with it. It's like, everybody's a narcissist, and no one's a bigger narcissist than a guy who ended a relationship, or his relationship was ended with a woman who takes to TikTok for empathy and sympathy from all of her fans. It seems that that's the massive trend I see.
right. And that's what is, I think, so bothersome to me, is that these people are letting out their shit on a platform where they have thousands and sometimes millions of followers. And these people are listening to them. And then they're walking around like they know what they're talking about, and like messing up their lives, and just literally they've created the story in their mind that this person's a narcissist. And so that's how they're going to continue to see them. And because they're looking for a reason why this person is acting a certain way when I did nothing to warrant that behavior.
How does that affect? We know how it affects the recipient, but how does it affect the person, the accuser? Is there anything that happens that you think, obviously, because I was that guy to a degree. All women are scum, this and that. So you go from all women are cheating, lying, manipulative whores. So you take that mentality, you go to the next relationship already, you're going to punish her for what happened to you, right? From what somebody else did. Did that mentality have an anchoring effect or compounding effect on me or anybody else who does that as we move forward in our own personal progress?
Absolutely. Because you have that, even though it might not be apparent, it might not be like on the surface level that you're like, because at the beginning of a relationship, you're like, oh, this person can do no wrong. And, everything's great, but they're also playing a role. So they're like, they're trying to get you, or you're trying to get them. So you're playing these roles. You're not really your real self, to an extent you are, but, there's always that, I'm not going to like go to the bathroom in front of them, or I'm not going to burp in front of them. And I don't.
Oh my God. Real
away.
Quick story. I'll let me put it this way. I dated a girl, that I was very much in love with, and, nothing. There was actually the beginning of the end from our relationship was something that you're talking about. In the beginning of the relationship, I'll be graphic, whenever we would go from doggy style back to missionary, she would kick me out of the room. Are you slightly nodding your head? I thought I saw.
I'm just.
I thought I saw
I'm
you slightly nodding your head, like
following along
anatomically
with
would
the
happen.
conversation.
The problem is when we're in one position having sex and then switch to another, the air that was being flushed into the orifice, she was embarrassed of that flatulence, if you will. So it would leave the room, count to 5, then you can come back in. It was funny. By the time that we got to, kind of knowing each other and we're committed, it was a laughing aspect. I think I told this story once on air, during sex towards the end of the relationship, it's probably the second to last time that we had sex. I let one rip. It was right at the moment, a climax, this and that. I sat there and I must have had something great for lunch. She got so turned off, didn't touch me for a month. She's like, and she was, the best thing about her was she was able to articulate, all right, that grossed me out. That turned me off. And then during an argument the next week when I'm like, dude, I don't understand why we're not, she was, because I don't have attraction to you right now. And I was really appreciative of that. It's like, well, thanks for fucking letting me know. But that type of shit, you just flushed that memory right back into my head from that whole.
Sorry.
No, that's why the relationship didn't work. But shit like that blows me away, because that's apparently we have to be perfect for one another. Otherwise, someone's going to be at fault for the relationship ending. That was
right. And yeah, I don't understand. Sometimes I don't understand my own gender, which is female, by the way. Don't ask me about that other crap. I don't know. I feel like I'm like the chill girl. Like, I'm just do whatever you want. You're a guy. You're going to be gross sometimes, like, obviously, right? And maybe it's because I had a lot of guy friends, or because I have a brother, or, I mean, I don't know what it is, but I don't get grossed out by stuff. And like, I understand you're a man and that's what's going to happen. And
were you all during your journey? During your journey, were you ever at a point where you would not take responsibility or accountability for shit that you did that made a relationship go south? And were you able to recognize it and then fix that issue or grow from it?
So my last relationship was like 11 and a half-ish years. And I say that because it was like over a long time before then. And so it was, as far as I know, we were both faithful. Like, I know I was faithful. Who knows about him? But I'm going with the story that he was. And so, yeah, we were both alcoholics and we both went through all of our stuff together. And so I think that's part of the reason why I stayed so long with him, is because I felt like I owed him for like saving me. But it turned into a very, and I hate it. I hate this term, but it was really toxic. It was. And I hate that I have to feel uncomfortable saying that, because people have made it such a trend. But that's what it was. Like, I've been through therapy. We tried the couples counseling thing, and it just was one side. He did not want to hear anything of what I had to say. And when we were in it, he would be like agreeing and being like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then when we get home, he completely gone out the window. And so it's like, I did take responsibility for things because I want to grow as a person, and I don't like to lie. Like, it makes me feel so uncomfortable inside, because honestly, I have so many things going on in my brain that I don't have room for lies. Like, I don't have room to remember what I said
was.
Right. I can't, like, it's just, and then he'd be like, you're lying. And he would accuse me of being a liar. And I don't even want to get into it. It was really bad. And it was actually, he was the real narcissist. And again, like, I feel bad. I feel uncomfortable saying that, because he is truly one.
But it makes you look like, if you weren't able to say this story here and you went to TikTok and talked about it, you'd be just another woman on TikTok talking about narcissism, and people like me would go, okay, all right, great, another girl who has nothing else to say.
Exactly. And that sucks, because there really are real narcissists out there. Like, but and on the flip side, though, like, if he ever sees this, but he would say that I was doing all of these things to him. And that's the gaslighting, that's where that comes in. But it's like, I have been through so much of the therapy just trying to figure it out, because I legit, at the end of it, I felt like I was crazy. I was like, am I making this up? Like, did that really happen? And my family and my friends would be like, no, this is really what happened. Like, they were there, witnesses, and so I'm like, okay, but even them saying it still wasn't clicking with me. Like, you're not crazy, Kara, and so, but that's what can happen in the dynamic of a narcissist relationship, is that they start to convince you that you're crazy by gaslighting you, and then you believe it. And then you can sometimes start to take on the characteristics of a narcissist yourself.
Is that a defense mechanism, or is it?
Yeah, it's like a response. It's like that's all you know now, because you're so like fucked up in the head. You don't even know who you are anymore, and you're believing like these stories that aren't even true and things that never even happened as if they happened, because it's so ingrained in you over and over again after that emotional abuse that's what ends up happening. And so it was a lot. It was a lot of work. And I say it was a lot of work, but right now, because I've gone through it and I'm over the hump and I'm moving on. I'm healed in a way, right? It doesn't seem like it was that hard. It doesn't seem like it was, I don't even remember like what that was like really anymore. Cause I think also because I don't want to remember that, but the steps that I took was like, I am not giving up. It was like grit. Like, I am not giving up. I am going to do this. Number one, for my daughter. Cause I was like, if I am not right in the head, I can't take care of her. And I want the best for her. I have to wonder
what you would pour onto her if you took
exactly
that blaming route. You would have helped raise another one who could go on TikTok 10 years from now and start blaming, my mother's a narcissist, my teacher's a narcissist. Oh, well, everybody goes that route. Where did this blanket, we went from a snowflake generation, what we called them. Now it's just a blank. Everybody's just, I don't even know how to label them, but everybody now, it's poor me, poor me, poor me. My oppressor's a narcissist. Is there any end in sight? How did they get here?
Yes.
What's the damage? All right, what do we got?
There is. Well, I'm saying that because I will refuse to live in a world where it's going to continue to be like this. So this is in part why I even started TikTok, because I refused for a long time to even get an account. I was like, nah, this is stupid. I'm not doing any dances. No. And but then the Instagram algorithm sucked and Facebook's annoying. So I was like, all right, fine, let's try this TikTok thing, right? And I love it now, except I keep getting these stupid things on my FYP. And yes, so what I think is, this is what I think now. So my theory on this may change, but I think that we have not been taught to get our validation from within. Like, we're losing God. We're not, it's out of the schools. It's out of, because of whatever, all the shit that happened in the churches and with all this craziness happening. I think that we lost something to believe in. And if you can't believe in yourself, then you need something to believe in, right?
It's hard to be focused when you're confused massively.
Right. So they go and they do these things and looking for that external validation. And this whole time they're depending on other people's opinions about themselves. And what these people are doing is, number one, they don't give a shit about anybody else but themselves. Like, really, when it comes down to it, right? Because you have to live with yourself till the day you die, right? Like, it is you. And so that's why going into a relationship, it's so key to be happy with yourself. Because what happens if that person gets hit by a bus? And
I confuse need with want. I always have, right? And it's I know the difference, but when you're emotional, it's a very different process in your brain. I can't remember what the quote was. Something along the lines of, and I'm paraphrasing, that man's greatest achievements are often at the hand of heartache, which is that men will build skyscrapers. They'll go to the gym and better themselves. They'll build businesses when they've been dumped. Men, more specifically, pour themselves into their work. On that end of it, that's a negative connection, if you will. But I've always, looked at it where, people of us, you don't need people. You want people. But as part of our growth, and I've asked this for a couple of the guests, does part of our growth, is it absolutely necessary due to at the hands of other people? I mean, if you're on a desert island, you could probably wind up, whatever, as if you live, you don't need other people. But if we grow exponentially at the emotional fallout from someone else's involvement in our lives, does that not kind of prove that we need other people?
Oh, yeah. I think that we're biologically designed to want that other human existence with us. It's it's an innate thing. But what I'm saying is, when you're pouring your whole entire existence based off of someone else loving you or being there for you, even if it's just a lot of women just want to get married and they don't care who they marry. And it's just to get the ring, just to have the status. And it doesn't make any sense to me. No wonder why guys are afraid of commitment.
Oh yeah, because women don't want, I've said it for years. I never got married because I have no kids. I've never been married and I'm successful. So I can't tell you how many women I've went out with and they're like, okay, well, and I appreciate you telling me one of the goals of a relationship is to get married. That needs to be a goal. If your goal, especially as a man, when you pursue a woman, isn't marriage, then you're dating her for the wrong fucking reason. But women they didn't want me. They wanted that checks off the box. He doesn't have kids. He's got a job. He doesn't have an ex. He hasn't. Okay, he's a good sperm donor. That was the problem I ran into. Wait a minute. You're not interested in me. You're interested in what I represent. And I understand the attraction between men and women are different. But I want to go back there for a second. If we need people, if we don't need people, and I agree we don't. We want people. But our achievement is, you see all these guys, right? What is that TikTok trend of, well, she didn't want who I was. She can't have who I became. And, they go to the gym and they take off their fucking, pump cover and all this stuff. I get that. So your success was based on the level of heartache. So she was the catalyst for it. So yeah, you need it at that time. But if self-validation, I don't need self-validation. Right? I don't need self-validation from other people, but it feels really fucking good when you're in love and that person is your world. Now that's a chemical, that's a feeling, that's an emotion, but that's a need. I'm sorry. Sometimes that need is more addictive than anything else. Where's the dangers of admitting we need that?
I don't see any dangers in that at all. I think that is a lost art. I don't know what the term for that is. It's something that, because I'm old school too, and it sucks. That is old school. What, what happened? I don't. I think that it is. I think that relationships right now, the ones that I see on TikTok, we'll just say, they're not. People don't know how to be in a relationship with another person. And I think that's because I think that if they don't know themselves, if they're not happy with themselves, like the guy that gets dumped and he goes and makes himself better or whatever, what were you doing when you were in the relationship?
Thank you. There's a trend going around and people steal weight loss journeys videos. And I've seen it. So it's not the original content creator, but a lot of people were showing females who were morbidly obese. And the start of the video, and it morphs into their fitness journey. And the start of the video is, he cheated on me. And then she just morphs into this stick figure or fitness woman. So I became something he could never have again. And the first thing out of my mouth all the time is, if this is really, and you get a lot of women who are in the comment section going, yeah, yeah, yeah. And I'm like, I don't mean to be an asshole, but maybe if you physically became this and showed this as a standard of what you wanted in the relationship, he wouldn't have cheated. And that may be that's a masculine thing to say, but sorry, it's the truth. So I don't know where this whole trend is heading.
If people need excuses, they need someone to co-sign their bullshit.
Oh. Ooh.
And not to say, all right, so maybe like situations are different. So like that's not always the case because we don't know like if that obese woman was emotionally abused or physically abused by her spouse or significant other. So that maybe she had no drive and was like, whatever, I'm married, I don't care. I'm just going to let myself go because he fucks with me in the head anyway.
Or he let himself go. He didn't care 100%.
Right. And who's going to want me now? So whatever, I might as well just not do anything about it. And
I don't want to segue, but I kind of do. Have you ever experienced that? Because you're an attractive woman, and usually it's always the attractive women, like the really good-looking women who date a guy who makes them. It's a tactic, and I'm very aware of the tactic. If I'm a narcissist in a relationship, what I'm going to do for you is I'm going to make you work for affection. And when you get it, it's going to be fleeting and it's going to be far and in between. And I'll give you backhanded compliments and I'll do it because then you will think like a dog that salivates at the dinner bell. You have to perform for my acceptance, which means that if you're working this hard for it, you better stay because it's trickling down because you're not going to get it anywhere else. I'm very aware that men are superior in that manipulation tactic, and it's always for the good-looking women because they know they can't get any better. So I might as well make you feel like complete dog shit so you'll stay with me thinking that I'm the only one that's ever going to make you feel good about yourself. Have you ever gone through that?
Yeah, that's what I went through. But because I was a people pleaser. And so I was like always wanting to, and I was a rescuer. Like I had to fix you, you know, but narcissists can sense that. Like, I don't know, it's a weird sense they have. Like they can tell that you're a people pleaser and that it like something clicks and they're like, gotcha. And then it's like a thing. They know what to do and how to do it. And I did not realize any of this. I was like, no, I'm dedicated. I'm loyal. Like I would, I always would say to that was something about myself. Like I'm loyal, I'm trustworthy. Like I don't do that. I don't play games because that's annoying. I don't order my man around. Like I'm not like, take out the trash, you lazy piece of shit. Or, like I don't do that because they're human. Like why? I will never understand it. I don't. And there's so many that do it. Like, well, you're the man and you have to do all of this shit and do the man thing. Like, yeah, okay, change my tire, check my oil, do that stuff. But like, I'm not gonna be like, I demand you to do that or I'm withholding sex.
Well, isn't it apparent though? Because I agree with you. But if this is 2022 and women and men still complain that women are complaining about take out the trash. Why do I have to tell you this? Is it not safe to say that this is a stupid issue that people know shouldn't matter, but it matters regardless? And it's just like the body camera issue with police, right? I've said this for decades. Well, no, at least the last 10 years, which is if you know that everybody has a cell phone camera, why are you still, fucking up on the job? You know you're always going to be recorded. Or drunk drivers. You've got Ubers, you've got Lyfts, you've got taxis. Why are people still drinking and driving? Same thing. Why is it that we know these problems? You're in a relationship, you're a guy, you're like, all right, maybe it's just some kind of weird telekinetic signal that one woman on the East Coast is going to broadcast to a woman on the fucking West Coast. I should go take the garbage out because I don't want to run the risk of my girl closing her legs and saying you're not getting sex. Shouldn't be that way. but maybe are these like little, are these shit tests that women do to see if a guy's really going to be who he says he was to get in her pants in the first place?
I have no idea because I don't know. I don't do that. So I don't know what they're thinking. Like, I think I should be, I don't know. Should I know that? I don't know why. Like, I just feel like it's a partnership and you're there to support each other in your own things. Like, have your own thing, because I need my space, you know, but I want that, security. I want to feel safe and loved. There's nothing wrong with wanting to feel love from somebody that you're in a relationship. There's nothing wrong with that, but they cannot be the sole source of your love. They are just reflecting you. So if you don't love yourself, then they're not going to reflect that back to you.
We hear that all the time. We've heard that forever. Every self-help is on the fact of loving yourself. Does it come with an acceptance, right? Do you like put the cart before the horse and say, all right, I'm going to love myself and then hope eventually you do? Or do you accept yourself first and be like, all right, listen, this is my fault. I'm on fucking this. This is my problem, blah, blah, blah. I accept that's who it is. So now I feel liberated enough to like myself enough to love myself and be open. Is that a crucial step for that?
Yes, 100%. And it's like that, in Law of Assumption, they talk about you're perfect just the way you are. But then you have to change all of these things in order to realize that you're perfect. So you don't really need to change anything because you're already perfect. So it gets really confusing, like when you try to explain it. But that's, if you sit with it, it'll start to make more sense with you. So you're perfect just the way you are. There's nothing you need to change. You have everything that you need. And so those things that you thought were wrong about you end up fixing themselves. It's weird. I know it's weird, but it works.
Where does continuing that in the relationship fall back to responsibility and limiting the blame game? So me, right? I've got narcissistic tendencies. You know what? I've been hurt a million times, right? Go into a relationship. There's got to be a point where I say, all right, I like who I am because I've admitted this is my fault. This is what I screw up on. This is what I suck at. I'm going in the relationship. Where do you balance and blend self-love with your partner? Because you can't be, I mean, how do we manage it? All right, Kara, I can't value your love on me more than I love myself. So does my love for me outweigh what you're bringing to the table? And if so, does that mean I start blaming you for self-fulfilling prophecy? I knew it gone to shit because she did this. She can't measure up to I love myself. How do you fucking balance that act out?
Yeah, so it's not just about self-love. It's about self-awareness. And when you can understand why you do the things you do and you accept it because you're a freaking human being and you have emotions that pass, they don't have to stay that way forever. But when you can start to become aware of what you're doing and why you're doing it. So every time, for example, I posted that video about the sunburn and this person saying this to me about my sunburn. And I was pissed because I was like, you know, why? Why do you have to say something about, obviously I know I have a sunburn. And it's what, after I sat with it, I was like, oh, it's because I have this belief that people are going to say something to me about something on my body that I am insecure about. And so, like the tag on my pants, they didn't tell me about the tag on my pants being there still because I didn't freaking know that was there. So I didn't know it was there. I wasn't aware of it. I wasn't conscious of that, but I knew about the sunburn and I had this belief that someone was going to say something to me and point it out to me because I think it's annoying when they do that. And so I didn't realize that until after I made that video. So it comes with being, It's not just self-love. It's being, that's important, definitely, because you don't want to be shitting on yourself all the time.
Right.
But it's a vibe. Like it is it's the unconditional love that you have for yourself is going to reflect back to you because you're sending it out from within, and it's going to be reflected back to you from everyone. It's a vibe. Like you don't have to say anything. You don't have to have the hard conversations. You don't. Like a lot of people are nervous about there's no communication and they're nervous about confrontation or discussing an issue or whatever. And it's because, and then it goes awry, and it's because they're so nervous about it and they can't stop thinking about it. And then, oh, well, I knew that was going to happen. And that's why, but you don't have to have those conversations if you don't want to. All you have to do is love yourself unconditionally, and it will be reflected back to you. Everyone is us pushed out. So it's this term in law of assumption. Everyone is you pushed out. So what you think about yourself and what you think about others is going to be reflected back to you.
Is there danger in not having the hard conversations? Is that stuff that we store up and then act out later on passive aggressively or even definitively?
Yes. When you're not I think, and this is where it's hard for me to explain this to people if they haven't studied the law of assumptions. So, because we talk about this all the time. I'm in a members group, and we talk about these things all the time. Like it's second nature to us now because we've been studying it for so long and practicing it. And so it's hard for me sometimes to make that shift of like, okay, these people don't know what the frig you're talking about, Kara. They're still like asleep. Like they're still living in this land of taking action to fix things, and then it doesn't work out, so they get depressed, and then they shit on themselves, and then and everyone else validates it for them because they don't look inside. They're looking to everywhere else to get that validation because they don't know that they have it inside them, and it's just a cycle. But it's hard. So yes, I think that when you're there are hard conversations that you do need to have, but it's just a hell of a lot easier when you're conscious and you're self-aware, and it's just what's been working for me.
Does the style, does the conversation, does the hard topic of the conversation, does it actually become easier when you're more self-aware and you are run with that?
Yeah. It becomes so much easier because you're not on the defense. Like you're not like, like, what are they going to say? You're leading the conversation with your own assumptions of yourself. You are the director.
Okay.
You say how it's going to go in your mind. And then it plays out. So when you're in that state, you're like, I know how this is going to go. So you're more comfortable. You're ready for it. And none of this is done maliciously either. And it's not manipulation. This is solely to like be a better person, be a better you, be the real, true you, who we really are. And we've all forgotten it. And that's why I'm doing TikTok, because I need to change it.
That's perception is reality, right? So if you have an issue with somebody and I was very guilty of this for a very long time. What do we say in conversations? We talk to, we don't talk to listen, we talk to reply. Or no, excuse me, we don't listen to hear, we listen to reply.
Right.
That has got to be a roadblock. Probably one of the greatest roadblocks to personal development is you just are too fucking stubborn to own up to your accountability, and you're missing out on that relatable factor in a relationship to be able to hear what someone else says in personal growth. How much damage do we think that is doing to any type of personal relationship, which just leads right away to, you know what? Fuck it. He's just a narcissist. And we're not going back on that.
Yeah, because then it's just easier to do that because now you have all the people on TikTok and all the social media saying, that's okay, girl, you get it. Like, yeah, you're right. I support you. And because they have that validation. So they think that they're right. There's nothing wrong with it. And I lost what I was going to say. But yeah, I think that
I'm riveted because I mean it's I want to hear more about the law of assumption and its elements for personal responsibility, personal accountability, without belittling it. Right? It's like, all right, I know I gotta own up to my shit. Those real epiphany moments when you're like, holy shit, I can't believe this is why X, Y, and Z failed, and this was clearly my fault. Recognition is one thing, personal recognition, right? Where you recognize what you did, but modified behavior is another. Because we can all say, oh, yeah, I cheated because I opened up the door to letting this girl slide into my DMs. I entertained it. I shouldn't have done that. But then how do you correct the behavior? Because there's that difference between being the painfully aware of what you did. But sometimes that pain is like, well, if I got away with it once, I can get away with it again. So how do we change the behavior?
well, first they have to want to do it. They have to want to do it.
Yeah, but it's so easy to be a scumbag and blame everybody else for others.
Exactly. Oh, that's what I was going to say. Yes. It's so everyone, it's so easy to keep being depressed and let's keep talking about our misery. It's so much easier. It's not just easier, it's comfortable because we've been comfortable. It's the second we feel uncomfortability, we want to, God, get me out of here.
You brought it up before, didn't you? With the repetitive nature of going to like a group and talking about, was that you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Because what you focus on grows. Where your focus goes, it grows. And you keep identifying yourself as an alcoholic. It's not like I'm not saying to not say that. Like,
no, but you were right. You talked about this in the last thing where every time, hi, I'm so and so. Like, I didn't notice I did that, right? I would acknowledge I'm a womanizer. That's because back in my 20s and in early 30s, I was a cheating piece of shit. That's not who I am anymore. I'm a man that's grown. But I would say all the time, yeah, here I am. I wanted to accept personal accountability, so I'm a womanizer. And then I would relate that to, I have a friend of mine who's been 20 years sober, but he would say, I'm an alcoholic. So if he's doing that for that, why is that not good for me? And then I didn't realize it until the first podcast you did with me. You're putting that energy out there. You are labeling yourself as is, you are going to be.
And it starts within though. So you're saying the words I am, right? Mm-hmm. That means God, right? Like I am. You keep saying that, then that's what you're programming your subconscious mind to believe that. You're saying it consciously, and then that's going into the program in your brain to think that. And so you might not think that, like people joke all the time, like, oh, I'm fat. Mm-hmm. Well, you want to be doing good I ams, like, it's not an emotion. So the I ams, it's not like I am happy. I am, it's the self-concept is the biggest issue. So the guys that go around and cheat and they get away with it or whatever, they're in their minds. Like there's something there, like they have an abandonment issue or a not feeling the priority or not enough or not chosen. There's some deep rooted issue that started from the age of 0 to 7, and sometimes it can form afterwards, but something happened to them to make them feel this way, that they're not good enough or that they have to overcompensate, or I don't know what the one for cheating is, but there's always one of those.
I'll tell you flat out what it is. It's significance. If here's what cheating is, especially if you're cheating with somebody who has somebody else. I'll flat out admit this. I have slept with a lot of married women, and it was always for me, all right, you've got this woman. I bet I can get her because I'm more valuable than you are. I 100% will acknowledge that in my youth, that was it. It was always, and it was always older women, right? Older man, more successful, more stable in life. He had a family. He did this. I got to be a homewrecker because I want to prove to myself on a subconscious level that I can attain what you did without any effort. For me, that's 100% of what that was.
So not feeling good enough.
No, absolutely not. That's the young man I was.
So that's what that is. So in order to, it's always something. Like I think I told you the last time, I had no idea that abandonment was that was even anywhere. But you have to look at what the circumstances are that keep happening to you, keep showing up in your life, and you go from there. So it doesn't have to be this deep, crazy inner child healing that takes years and years and years, and you're never going to get better, and you're just doomed for life, and it's too painful, so I'm not going to do it. It's not that. Like, you just literally just look at like patterns in your life, things that keep happening, things that come up that bother you or that people mention to you that bother them. And you're like, okay, all right, I wonder why that is. And then think back to your childhood, like what happened to you, things, little certain significant events, someone dying close to you, that's abandonment. Getting abused is, not being good enough. It's a bunch of things, but that's where you figure it out. It's by looking at your current circumstances and what keeps popping up that seems to be a theme in your life. And then you reverse it with affirmations. And you start changing your perspective and understanding that you have the power to do that. And once you understand, it's not to, like, we cause everything that happens to us. We are the only cause. Mm-hmm. But people get that twisted and they think that I'm blaming them for getting abused. That's not what that means. It means that if it happened to you, if you are the only cause, you didn't do it on purpose. Nobody wants to get abused. Like, what the fuck? If you are the only cause, then that means you have the power to change it.
Change what? Remove the pain that's associated to it? Remove okay.
Yeah, right. Remove the pain. You can definitely reverse it. You can't change it. Like, you can't go back in the past, but you can retrain your brain to not remember it.
I've talked about it where I know a lot of women who, they've suffered, I hate the word sexual abuse because it's rape, right? And they've been raped, and they then have gone hypersexual. Some women have shut down. A lot of women go hypersexual because then they have that power and of what they had done to them. Now they're the aggressors. Parallel to that, verbal abuse. So now somebody is verbally abusive. You may be taking power back, but how can any of that how can they make that productive and a healthy way of growing from that trauma and changing it because they're the cause of it?
Well, they have to recognize it. They have to recognize that, oh, something changed. Like, I wasn't always like this, and then that thing happened, and now I'm doing it. What is it? What is the cause? It always goes back to your childhood. It does. Like, it's as simple as that. You're just literally looking at what's happening around you, patterns in your life, common themes, what you think about you. Like, you were describing yourself as a womanizer. Mm-hmm. And you think about it. You sit with yourself. You got to get quiet and sit with yourself and just listen. And I know that people find it so hard to do nowadays. Like, mm-hmm. Oh, I don't want to meditate. Like, you could you just try something different for the love of God? Like, breathe, connect, go outside and take your shoes off, put your feet in the soil, in the grass, feel that earth energy. And I'm going to sound woo-woo here, but it fucking works. Like, do 20 minutes.
Yes, it does.
It's amazing.
It's Eastern philosophy and Eastern medicine is effective for a reason. All right, the last 10 minutes I like to talk about solutions because we talk a lot about problems. Let's talk about solutions. Somebody is listening to this. They're like, okay, I want to follow this girl. It's Kara, Kara_Bella, BELLA 19 on TikTok. Make sure you wind up connecting with her there. Then they're like, wow, there's a lot of things I can recognize in this. What are some first steps that somebody can take to combat whatever? Because we're talking about accountability today or blame game. But what are some first steps that people can do to say, all right, I need to be more accountable and stop blaming other people for the stuff I bring onto myself?
If they want to change, then they can. If they want to do it, then there are plenty of techniques out there for them to do. You just have to find what works for you. But the number one thing you need to understand is that you are the only cause. And if you don't understand that, then it's not, you can have a really hard time, because I didn't get it. I didn't understand that at first. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I didn't cause my trauma. Like, I didn't want that shit. It's not that. That is giving you your power back to say, okay, shit, I can change this. I don't have to be like this. I am not identifying myself as this person anymore with these qualities, these characteristics. I want to change it. So you decide. You decide who you want to be, what you want to be like. If you want to be a millionaire, you could do that. Just an example, and you want to become clear and decide. So first you have to understand that you are the only cause. And number two, you become clear on what you want. And then you decide, you look at the patterns and things that have been happening in your life or common themes. You don't have to go way back. You don't have to do that shit. It's fine. And from there, you can figure out what your self-concept issues are. And then you affirm for the new ones that you want. So I am chosen. I am more than good enough. I am always the priority. That's basically, I do the sleep tapes, so I have my own that I make. So it has to be specific to you. So you can't just you can listen to ones that people make on YouTube, but your subconscious mind, I have found for me, what's worked better for me is when my brain hears my own voice saying it. So there's apps on your phone you can get for just a voice recorder app, and put it in your ears at night or whatever. Listen to it while you're sleeping at a super low volume. You don't need it to be loud, because what's going to happen is sometimes what happens is your brain rejects it. So people have thrown their phones across the floor.
Oh, geez.
Some have woken up in the nightmares, or others have heard demonic voices, because the subconscious is trying to fight it. It's no, the ego is in the subconscious trying to fight it. It's no, we don't know this. This is not safe. We have to protect you. We don't know what this shit is, but you have to keep up with it. It takes some time. And
let's talk about the parallels of that. If somebody's with somebody in a relationship, and we know that a lot of times spouses and significant others aren't the most supportive people in the world, especially when you've been together with somebody for a while. One person wants to make growth and change. That makes the other person uncomfortable. They're threatened. How do you do all this while also managing a partner that may not be giving you the energy of support that you need? Do you address that? Do you ignore it? Do you shut it out? How do you navigate those waters?
I've had those challenges. You have to, for me, I just didn't give up. You have to, you have to want it that badly, and don't give up on yourself. And If it's really difficult for you to even find time to do it because they're not being supportive, you have to start seeing them differently and telling a new story about them, because that is what is going to be reflected back to you. So all day.
Do you speak to them about it? Does it?
No.
'Cause that's a hard conversation. Okay.
No. You don't have to take any action. It's in your mind. You're retraining your brain. You're reprogramming it. There's a virus.
I could see.
Upload
Yeah,
that
I
new
could see some
software.
bad stuff to that, because it's like if you come up to somebody, your partner, and you're like, I'm working on me. I'd love your support on this, blah blah, and this is the person you've chosen to live your life with, and you have an emotional bond there, and they're negative on that. That negativity is going to bleed right over into you, and you're probably going to subconsciously start doubting the process of what you're doing.
That's the thing, is there probably are going to be negative about it to you because you're feeling it. You're not healed yet. Like, you're not working on shit yet. So you're going to them being so nervous that they're going to reject it, and they're not going to fully support you because you don't know what the frig you're doing now. And that's what always happens, is that they're just reflecting back to you that negativity that you're feeling, and they're projecting they're also projecting their shit onto you. But it's also, that's why they say don't talk about your stuff, like things you want to do with other people sometimes, because they're just going to project their shit, right? So it's the same thing with you. Like, it's your own fears are going to be reflected back to you from those people. So don't say shit to them.
All right. Where can everybody find you? How can they wind up talking to you, getting held to you, all this kind of stuff, support you?
They can find me on Instagram and TikTok at Carabella, Kara_Bella, BELLA, the number 19, number 19, Carabella 19, TikTok and Instagram.
Always love having you on. We're going to have you on again. Guys, Kara_Bella 19 over on TikTok and Instagram. This is another episode of And God Created a Woman, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great day.
And you